Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're going to really tear into a game that, well, on the surface, it looks like a straightforward win, but it actually hides some really crucial insights into FIU's, frankly, surprising season. We're talking about their dominant 34-10 victory over North Texas, who, remember, were unbeaten going into this one. Our goal, like always, is to sift through all the info and pull out what really mattered in the CUSA clash. Basically, give you the shortcut to understanding why this win was, well, pretty significant for FIU. This win moved the Panthers to 4-1 overall and a perfect 2-0 in conference play. Now, we do have some context from FIU's season overall, but let's be clear. Most of this deep dive, it's laser focused on this FIU versus UNT game. We'll only dip into past games for, quick comparisons or maybe to highlight a trend that's developing.
Exactly. And you use the word dominant, which is spot on. This wasn't just squeaking out a win. FIU really controlled this matchup. If you look at the the big picture stats, FIU put up 345 total yards. Pretty balanced, 207 through the air, 138 on the ground. UNT had 320 total yards, 200 passing, 120 rushing. So similar yardage, right? But the key difference, and this is huge, FIU played a completely clean game. 0 turnovers, UNT. They lost a fumble. So that's a +1 turnover margin for FIU right off the bat. And like you said, they absolutely slammed the door shut in the fourth quarter, put up 17 points, just sealed the deal.
Yeah, that fourth quarter really tells you a lot about their mindset, doesn't it? Seizing control. So let's unpack that flow. Maybe walk us through the scoring timeline. How did FIU build this lead, starting with the first quarter?
Right. So first quarter, FIU gets things going, sets a pretty methodical tone, actually. It's Alejandro Prado, their kicker. He hits a 26-yard field goal. This is with about 3.26 left in the quarter. Not flashy, but puts points on the board first. Solid start. Confidence builder.
Okay, so 3 FIU after 1. Then the second quarter feels like things picked up.
Oh, absolutely. Second quarter is where FIU really started to, build some momentum, flex their muscles a bit. First, it's Keyshawn Owens. He punches it in from 16 yards out. Rushing touchdown. That was with just under 4 minutes left and a half. Showed some real power there. Then, get this, with only about 1:12 left, Keon Jenkins, the 2B, finds Alex Perry, connects for a 29-yard touchdown pass. At that point, you're thinking, okay, FIU might run away with this thing before halftime.
Right, 17 in your lead late in the half.
Exactly. But, UNT answers right back almost immediately. Kiefer Sibley breaks loose, a huge run, 66 yards for a touchdown. And this happened with only 53 seconds left on the clock before halftime. So instead of FIU going in feeling totally dominant, UNT gets a massive lifeline. Kept them in it.
Wow. Okay, so that changes the halftime talk quite a bit, I imagine. Keeps things interesting going into the third. What happened then? Did UNT build on that momentum?
They tried. Yeah, they definitely tried to claw back. UNT managed to add a field goal in the third. Colleen Guma hit it from 39 yards out. That was around the 5.31 mark, so they cut the lead a bit more at 17-10. But that's kind of where UNT's comeback stalled.
Yeah.
And where FIU just took over, the fourth quarter was, well, it was all FIU, an absolute clinic in closing out a game.
All right, break down that fourth quarter for us. How did they put it away?
Okay, so first, Keon Jenkins finds Keyshawn Owens again. We talked about their connection. This time, it's a big one. 41-yard passing touchdown. With 6.23 left, that felt like the dagger, Just a huge play when they needed it.
That Jenkins-Owens connection really seemed to click in this game.
It really did. Then Prado comes back out, hits another 26-yard field goal, same distance as his first one. That made it 27-10 with about 4 minutes left. Pretty much put it on ice.
Yeah, game effectively over at that point.
Yeah, pretty much. But just for good measure, Jenkins decided to add one himself, scrambled in for a 3-yard rushing touchdown with less than a minute to go, 51 seconds left. Just pure emphasis at that point. And like you said earlier, it really showed FIU consistently turning drives into points, especially when it counted most in that final quarter.
Yeah, converting drives, especially in the fourth, is a sign of a team that knows how to win. So, okay, the scoring shows the dominance, but let's dig a little deeper into the team numbers. You mentioned the yardage was fairly close, 345 for FIU, 320 for UNT. But there's more to it, right?
Oh, absolutely. That slight edge in total yards gets magnified when you look at efficiency. Check this out. Yards per play. FIU averaged 6.4 yards every time they snapped the ball. UNT, only 5.1 yards per play. That's a pretty significant difference. Almost a yard and a half more per play for FIU.
That adds up fast over a whole game.
It really does. Tells you FIU was creating bigger chunks, more effective plays on average. And then Third downs, the quote-unquote money down. FIU was efficient there too. 4 for 10, that's 40%. Solid. UNT was 4 for 12, which is 33%. So again, FIU slightly better, finding ways to move the chains.
And we already hit on the turnover margin, which is huge. FIU 0, UNT 1 fumble. That +1 for FIU. Crucial. But the penalty thing, that's just wild. Tell us about that again.
This is honestly fascinating. You almost never see this.
Right.
Both teams, FIU and UNT, committed 0 penalties. None. 0 penalty yards for either side.
That's incredible discipline, like unheard of.
It really is. Speaks volumes about the coaching, the player focus on both sides.
Yeah.
But for FIU, playing that clean game while also winning the turnover battle, it just meant they weren't giving UNT any freebies, any easy yards. They made UNT earn everything.
Wow. Okay, and then there's the red zone, inside the 20-yard line. How did they fare there?
Another critical area where FIU excelled. They were perfect. Every time they got into the red zone, they scored. 2 touchdowns, 1 field goal on their trips inside the 20. UNT, on the other hand, they only got into the red zone once, I believe. And they only came away with a field goal. No touchdowns.
So FIU capitalizing, UNT stalling out. Big difference.
Huge difference. And it really contrasts with some of FIU's earlier games.
Right.
You know? Think back to week 1 against Arkansas State. They had some miscues, left points on the field in the red zone. Seeing this kind of efficiency against UNT, it suggests they've really worked on that, maybe simplified things, maybe just executing better under pressure. It looked like a real improvement.
That red zone fix seems real then. Okay, so let's talk players. Who are the engines behind this? You've mentioned the Jenkins-Owens duo a few times. Clearly, they're central to what FIU's doing.
Absolutely central. They are becoming the identity of this offense. Yeah. Keon Jenkins, the quarterback. Just look at his numbers against UNT. 15 of 26 passing, 207 yards, 2 touchdowns, and crucially 0 interceptions. That gave him a passer rating of 149.9. That's elite territory. Super efficient.
And he can run too, right?
Yep, not just a pocket passer. He had 6 rushes for 28 yards and that touchdown at the end. He's a genuine dual threat.
Yeah.
Makes defenses account for his legs too.
Okay, and then Kejon Owens. Talk about his impact. It felt like he was everywhere.
He really was, just showcasing incredible versatility.
Yeah.
On the ground, 19 carries, 87 yards, and that rushing touchdown. A solid day running the ball. But his impact receiving, maybe even bigger in this game. 5 catches, 95 yards, and that huge 41-yard touchdown reception.
That's almost 100 receiving yards for a running back.
Exactly. And this brings up a really important point about how he changes things for FIU. Because he's such a threat catching the ball out of the backfield, defenses can't just key on the run when he's in there. Linebackers have to respect the pass. Safeties might hesitate. That can open up running lanes he wouldn't otherwise have. So it's not just about offsetting, like, a slow day for the run game. It's making the entire offense more dangerous and unpredictable.
That makes a lot of sense. It opens up the whole playbook. Were there other key receivers involved?
Yeah, Alex Perry chipped in nicely. 3 catches, 43 yards, and that important 29-yard TD grab in the second quarter. And Tarvarish Dawson was reliable too. 4 catches for 47 yards. Consistent hands.
Okay, so good distribution. Now, what about the defense? Who stood out there besides, the whole unit playing penalty-free?
Well, the front 7 really made its presence felt. That's becoming a bit of a theme for them. ADGE rusher Lamont Green Jr. He was a monster against UNT. 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss. He was living in the UNT backfield, disrupting plays, getting pressure.
2 sacks is a big day for an edge rusher.
Huge day. And he wasn't alone. C. Mahoney on the defensive line. He added a sack, 2 more tackles for loss, and he forced that crucial fumble. Just disruptive power. And linebacker Percy Courtney Jr., he forced a fumble too. So they're actively trying to punch that ball out.
So multiple guys making plays behind the line and creating turnovers.
Exactly. And if you zoom out a bit, connected to the bigger picture, this surge from the pass rush from guys like Green and Mahoney is becoming a really significant factor for this FIU defense. It really makes you wonder, right? Can Lamont Green Jr. be that guy week in, week out?
Yeah.
Can he anchor that pass rush and be someone offenses absolutely have to game plan around every single snap? Because his impact, their collective impact against UNT was massive, a big reason UNT couldn't sustain drives.
Yeah, that defensive pressure is definitely a key storyline moving forward. Let's try and connect a few more dots now, look at some broader trends, maybe tie in some of that season context we mentioned. Offensively, what trends are emerging from this UNT win?
Well, one thing is sustained drives. Now, against UNT, they were 4 for 10 on third down. That's, solid, 40%, respectable. But what's interesting is we've seen FIU be even better than that earlier this season. Remember, they went an incredible 12 for 13 on third downs against both Appalachian State and FAU.
Wow, 12 for 13. That's insane efficiency.
Right. So it shows the capability is there for elite third down offense. Against UNT, it It was good, not quite that elite, but still effective. It's about finding that consistency. Another trend, developing explosive plays. We saw Owen's 41-yard TD catch. But think back earlier in the year, Alex Perry had that huge game against Delaware.
Yeah.
8 catches, 110 yards, a TD. So it's not just one guy. Playmakers are stepping up and delivering those big game-changing plays. That's vital.
And the ball security, that seems like a massive positive trend.
Huge positive trend. 0 turnovers against UNT. That came right after another 0 turnover game against Delaware. That is a significant demonstrable improvement. Remember the FAU game? They had 3 turnovers. For any team, but especially one finding its identity, cutting out those mistakes is absolutely paramount. 2 straight clean games. That's a big deal.
It really is. And that ties into the red zone consistency we talked about, right? The clean performance against UNT, 2 TDs, 1 FG coming after they seemed to get better against Delaware. It really just feels like that red zone fix is real after those struggles against, say, Arkansas State early on.
I think so. It suggests they've either found plays they trust down there, Jenkins is more comfortable, or maybe, well, the pass defense definitely looked better against UNT. Earlier in the season, like against App State, they seemed vulnerable to jump balls, contested catches. Didn't see much of that against UNT. In fact, UNT didn't have any passing touchdowns. That's a solid step forward in coverage discipline.
Good improvement there. Any negatives?
The main sort of blemish on the defensive performance was that one big run, that 66-yard touchdown by Sibley. That's the kind of explosive play they'll want to eliminate going forward. Keep everything in front of them. But here's the interesting quirk. Defensively,
Uh-oh, what is it?
despite the pressure, despite the forced fumbles, FIU still hasn't recorded an interception this season. At least not according to the available stats we have. 0 picks.
Really? With Green and Mahoney getting pressure like that, you'd expect a QB to make a mistake.
You would. And apparently, there have been some dropped interceptions earlier in the season. Balls defenders got their hands on but couldn't haul in. So it raises this interesting question, right? Is getting that first INT a major point of emphasis for the secondary right now?
Yeah.
Or is it just kind of a statistical fluke that will eventually correct itself? It's definitely something to watch. When will that first pick finally happen?
Absolutely. You feel like it's bound to happen soon with that pressure. Okay, so let's try and wrap this deep dive up. Recapping the FIU versus UNT game, a really dominant, well-executed 34-10 win for FIU. We saw a balanced offense, an ability to finish drives, especially late, standout performances from individuals, particularly that Jenkins-Owens connection, and just incredible team discipline, 0 turnovers, 0 penalties. That's just remarkable.
Couldn't agree more. And those positive trends are really solidifying. Ball security looks much improved. They're developing explosive plays consistently. Red zone executions clicking, turning yards into points. And that defensive front 7 is becoming a real force, generating pressure and disruption. This win moves FIU to 4-1, 2-0 in CUSA. That puts them in a really strong, maybe even surprisingly strong position early on. They look like a team that could genuinely contend.
It's definitely an exciting trajectory for them. Which brings us to our final thought, something for you, the listener, to chew on. Given FIU just played back-to-back games without a single turnover, can they keep that up? Can they sustain that crucial ball security as the schedule gets tougher? And with that pass rush really starting to heat up, led by guys like Lamont Green Jr. and C. Mahoney, when? When are we finally going to see that first interception from the secondary? And who's going to get it? That feels like the last piece of the puzzle for this defense that's really starting to evolve, something to keep an eye on in the coming weeks. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.